Okay, going to start the tutorial on making the truck that we make in Year 8 Technology. Sometimes in Year 7, depending on how switched on you are. Okay, the first thing we want to do, we're doing design and technology, so we're creating something new. I'm going to give you a basic design that I want you to follow along with. Draw it up the way I draw it up. That'll give you a good grounding on how to modify and make your own ideas come to life. We're going to use a web-based CAD package, a computer-aided design or drafting package. It's called Sketchup. There's a downloadable version and stuff like that, but there's a really nice little web-based version which will work great on your Chromebooks, and will also work on a desktop computer, and actually it works on an iPad now, and it's apparently pretty good. So anyway, go to a URL, a website. Ooh, I'll open it up. Called app.sketchup.com. Don't Google it. Don't type in www.sketchup.com. It'll send you to the wrong spot. It'll be the full-blown downloadable, installable package, and we don't want that. We want to work on the web. Okay, so this URL, Universal Resource Lookup, type it in your address bar up here. You don't need to Google it or anything like that. So app.sketchup.com, and we'll get that out of the way. If you have trouble with that, come and see me. Now, should bring you to a page like this. It could have changed between me recording this and, the next version of SketchUp, who knows? But it should look something like this with probably the Trimble logo, some details. Don't type in your school address there, okay? Click on the sign in with Google and it should be automatic. Or if not, then type in your school details, okay? It'll bring you to this. It's free for education. I've got a few drawings already, but we're going to start from scratch. It could have popped you straight into a screen that looks something like this, so I'll bring you here. Once again, the character on the screen indicates the version, the latest version type of thing. You'll be on the latest version because it's web-based. If it's different, you could be watching this years from when I record it and there's been multiple versions and upgrades, okay? Now, secondly, if you are on here and it's the first time you've used it, and you, in all likelihood, do not want to use feet and inches, it's an American software and the default will be feet and inches, please go immediately up here to the three little bars and click on them. Go home, and this pull-down menu up here where it says Create New, change it to millimeters. We want to work in millimeters, okay? Then it'll take you back and it looks the same, but we're in millimeters. Yay. Once again, the character could be different. The icons could be slightly different. They've changed these things all the time. In fact, we're on a new version now, and I can see that it's changed from last time I used it. We don't need him there. We're not going to draw a house or a building. Okay, so left button, going to select him. Actually, before I do that, if you haven't used it before, let's give you a rundown. Hopefully you're using a mouse. If you're not using a mouse, you will probably have trouble with this unless you're on the new iPad version, and I have no idea how that works because I don't have an iPad. But I would recommend using a mouse or getting a mouse if you are going to do any CAD drawing or anything of any detail on a computer. Okay, let's have a look. If I roll the wheel, I zoom. If I click the wheel, I rotate around, and if I hold shift and click the wheel, I can do what's called panning, left, right, up and down. So I'm not zooming in or out, I'm orbiting around, I'm just moving it left, right, up and down. Okay. If you've got a Mac mouse, by the way, I don't know how they work. Good luck. Just get a standard $10, $5 mouse from Officeworks and you'll be fine. Okay. You can plug it into your Chromebook, by the way, if you didn't know that. So anyway, left button is select. I've got some drawing tools down here and some properties and stuff over here. We're going to mostly be using the tool set over the left. I'm sorry if it looks a bit small. I haven't got my zoom set up, so I'm going to make this tutorial really quick. At any time, pause it, rewind it, speed it up, slow it down, skip bits, you know how a video works. I'm going to take him, left button, click on him, and press the delete or backspace key on your Chromebook and delete. Okay. Down the left hand side we've got a bunch of little things that look fairly obvious because I can tell what the little icon picture means, paint bucket, razor, pencil, all that sort of thing. If you slow down and hover the mouse for a second or two, it'll pop up a little balloon text that'll tell you what the tool is. And the tool is the last thing I used on it, okay? So circle there because I changed the circle. I'm going to make a rectangle. We're going to draw the truck, which is mostly rectangles, I think. Maybe the few circles for the wheels. So anyway, find the rectangle on the left-hand side. Select it. Come across anywhere on your screen. Now this is important. This is the first step, and I've probably been over it a million times with you in class. We've got our axis there. I think green is my Y, red is my X, and blue is my Z axis or Z axis. Click once. Take your finger off the mouse. It's just a click, not hold it down. I generally go in a direction I want to go, Cartesian plane style. I look down the bottom, make sure that it's saying millimeters. Don't try to get the exact millimeters by, lining it up, although you could, but it's very easy the way I'm going to show you. Now, we're going to start with the chassis, the big piece, exactly like we would in the workshop. We start with the big piece. If we cut it wrong, it'll quickly become the small piece, and we don't waste any timber. I'm going to start making it a little different than maybe I made it in the workshop. I'm going to start with 300 by 65, and I've drawn a rectangle. I'm going to zoom in, roll the wheel. So there's the piece of timber I have in my hand. 300 mil long by 65 wide, but it's only a two-dimensional piece of timber. I've only typed in 2 dimensions. So I want to come across here. There's a little push-pull. If you've been using other CAD packages, maybe Onshape with Mr. Fisher. It's basically extrude. It could be any one of these icons. It's down on the left, about the middle, a little lower than the middle. If you move your mouse across, now, if you have a look, when my mouse touches something, where the very tip of the arrow is what I want, okay? Once I go off there, it's not selected. So you can click like mad around here like I see students do. You're not picking anything, okay? It's not a touch screen. Unless you're using an iPad. We're using a mouse, so we want to be fairly precise and accurate, That is the face I want to pick, and I'm going to click once and take my finger off the mouse and move it up or down, whichever direction. Now, I tend to move it up. Makes sense if I'm adding to something. The timber we have is 19 mil thick. Okay, that's what it is. 3/4 of an inch, 19 mil. It's probably a little bigger, but anyway, we'll do it as 19. There's the base of my truck. I'm going to use the select button up the top, the black arrow. I have no idea what this new button is. Search SketchUp. So if I was looking for something, push. Oh, look, that's brand new. Look how useful that is. If you're looking for something, you can type it in. There it is, and it gives you the shortcut and everything. Great. Everything gets better every day. Anyway, with my select icon, my little pointer here, I've got a little thing I can drag a box around, but anyway, select. I can pick face, edge, face, rotate around, pick faces. I can pick all sorts of things. Sorry about that, cancel. I pressed the backspace button by accident. Just quickly go over it. If I click over here, drag a box, I can select everything. It's all blue and sort of crosshatch type of thing. Or I can select a face, hold down the shift, select another face, select an edge. I can pick multiple using the shift button, okay? And then I think I should be able to unselect as I go too. So just click on them again to unselect. But there's the base, the chassis. I'm going to drag a box around it. It's all selected. And then I'm going to right click on it and go make component. I'm going to give it a name because there's going to be a few bits in here. Chassis, we could give it a description, could muck around with a bunch of settings there, but I won't. I'm going to, very simple, chassis. Okay. Now, I'm going to work on top of this, okay? This is what makes SketchUp really fast to work. In a normal CAD package in Onshape, you would have opened a new document and made a new part and then assembled them all together, but SketchUp's really quick. You can draw on top of things, but as long as you make them components, you won't have a problem. If you're skipping that one step I did there, you're going to make your life really hard. And I'm not here to make your life hard. I'm here to make your life easy. You'll notice I'm on rectangle and I move around my object. It'll snap in to important things like midpoints, middle of a line, middle of a intersection, endpoints, middle. It'll do really useful things for us. So I'm going to click on one of the endpoints over here at the front, whatever I want to make the front, and I'm going to drag it along to the other edge. Now I know that's 65 wide, and I'm going to make this little piece here, 65, 65. Okay, so I've got if you pull down here, and I'll show you, this might make sense to you. If I pull down there, I've drawn a square on top of a part. Okay. I'm going to make that out of 19mm timber again. Go back to my select. I want to make it a component so I can move it around. If I drag box from the left on the whole thing, it's all selected. If I drag, anyway, if I put the box around both parts, they're both blue. Let's quickly go over what is happening there, and you may have to, this may make your brain melt a little bit. If I drag from the left, okay, forget about this for the time being, okay, that's one piece, okay, so if I drag from the left and I let go, everything that's in the box will be selected, okay? If I drag from the right and let go, everything that touches the box is selected, okay? That's very useful for us as we go, but at the moment, just follow along. I'm going to drag from the left, adjust around that box I drew there, let go. It's the only thing selected. I'm going to right click, make component, call it engine. Now, I'm going to move it, but, so down here, there's a little, currently it's red, okay? It looks like a red 4 arrows pointing outwards, so kind of indicating that it's moving things, okay? Transforming and moving things. So I want to grab things by useful parts, okay? Like corners and endpoints and stuff like that. I want to think a little bit ahead. I could drag it over here, but I've got no way of controlling, well, not very easily way of controlling where it goes, okay? So for me, I want to drag it by this bottom corner. You watch what I do now. I'm going to move it up, see the blue axis. So you don't want that line to be black. You want it to be either, red, green, blue at the moment, because then you can control the direction it's going in. And I'm going to do another little tricky thing. I'm going to press Control. And because I press Control, it duplicates that part. Okay, I don't want to draw it multiple times. I'm going to cut it out in the workshop. It's going to be the same part. But if I'm drawing it on CAD, I want to work really quick. And it makes it faster for the computer and you. So I'm going to put on top because that's what it's going to look like. Okay. I'm going to, let's do one at a time. If I click on that, I can move it around. If I double click or triple click or whatever, if I keep clicking on it, 2, 3, so it look like 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I can edit it. Okay, so I want to go into edit mode. And if I edit it, so imagine I've gone over to this sander. I could take, more off the front. I could descend the front. I could descend, well, I don't want to descend the top, but I could use thinner timber or something like that, But what I want to do is I want to descend the edges off. I like it with the edges, so I selected the edge there. And so I just go click, select edge, go to move, and I'm not moving the whole thing, I'm just moving the edge along that green axis, okay? Maybe 5mm. So it would look like that. And both of them change because they're really the one part. Makes life a lot easier for you. This could be, shingles for a roof or a part for a house that you're going to use multiple times in your drawing. It makes it a lot quicker for the computer to draw it up and for you to reuse parts and not redo the whole job. Again, it could be really complex and taking you a while to do a part, and you might want to reuse it all over the project you're doing, the design you're doing. I'll show you another way I could have done it. So I just pulled that edge in. That's one way you could do it. I'd usually do it that way because it's nice and quick, but you might want to actually draw it on. So it doesn't matter which part I edit. I'm going to edit the top, so I double click in there, and I'm going to make, I'll do it this way. I'll come from this corner along that green edge. It could be red depending on the direction you draw it in. It doesn't really matter. So at this stage I would say that's either green or red, and I'm going to type in 5mm. I want to come along that edge 5mm. That's giving me a little endpoint there, because there's a line on top of a line. And I'm going to click once on that endpoint, bring it into that. See, now it's gone another color. It's gone black, but it's locking into a useful point for us. Okay, so the endpoint. So we know it's flat on there. So I'm going to click on there. So we've got a nice straight line down there. That's exactly like you would do it on your piece of timber, and then you would walk over to the disc sander and you would sand that completely off. And there you go. You've got the engine part. I like to set mine back a bit. I'm going to shift, select both, take my move, one of the corners here, that one there would be useful. Come along that red edge for me, type in 575 mil away from the front. Okay, so I've offset it 5 mil. Looks like that. Let's draw in the chassis. I want to go really quick on this because I know you get bored. Okay, I'm going to draw another rectangle along here. Now that rectangle is going to be drawn from a different orientation. So I'm looking down the bottom. I'm seeing the XY coordinates going that way, or the Y, X, whatever it is. Okay, I'll look along there. I know it's 65 because I drew it 65. I'm going to type in 65. And for that one, it's going to be 19 mil. You're best to draw in the orientation you are in, as in the direction. If I draw a house, I wouldn't want to draw it on the side. And I'm going to click on that rectangle. Remember, it's drawn on top because that's a component. That's a component. It's not going to stick to anything. I'm going to come up here, and I would like you, but you know, going to change it at the end if you want. Bring that up 85 mil. Okay, so we're going to cut. I've already given you a cutting list in the workshop, so usually I do that one 250, but this time I did it 300, and those are 65 by 65, and then we've got 3 at 85. Now, I could drag a box around it from left, or I could triple click on it. Okay, so this time I triple clicked on it. It all went blue. Even the bits I can't see, I know are blue. I'm going to right click, make component, call this a cabin. Now I'm going to get a move. I'm going to take it from a corner. I'm going to bring it out here. Then I'm going to click on control. See, the icon's now got a little plus on it, so I'm duplicating it. I'm going to bring it to this side and click again. I'm going to make a little shortcut because this is all about working fast. I'm going to 2x 2 times. I want 2 copies of that. Bang. And it did it exactly the same distance. If I copied it over here, it'd do it again the same distance. I moved it, so it's remembering what I did. Now, you know, in the workshop, we've got like a windscreen on here. So if I was to change that, double click on it. Let's have a look. Take that edge and bring it back. You can probably pick what's going to happen. It's going to come back like that. All the pieces are the same. That's not how we want the job. So that's theoretically going to be slightly different than these two. Okay, so after you've glued it together, laminated it together, you're going to sand it up. I'm going to right click on that and make it unique. So it's a one-off now. If I edit it, it won't affect these two. These two are the same. That one's unique. I'll bring it out a little bit to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring it along here. So I want you to visualize what I'm doing. In the workshop, you'll put on a bench, put on a flat bit of board or timber, and you will get a, going to edit. You'll get a tri-square and a pencil, and you'll draw a line straight across there. Okay, right at the height of those two. They're 19 and 19, so that'd be 38 up. Best to put it on a board and mark it at the corner, then put a tri-square on it. And then I want to come up here and do the windscreen. Now, I don't want to do the windscreen like for this, okay, because it'll look ugly. If I come back there now, I don't want to go a sharp edge, okay? I want to leave a little bit here. So you're going to use a marking gauge and do a line, but about 3 mil, so 19 minus 3 is 16. I'm going to come in along that red axis, 16, something like that. And then I'll put it back in position. Okay. So your truck's coming along very nicely. You've got the chassis, you've got the cabin, you've got the engine, and you've got them sort of glued together. Not as complete as this. This is just our design. You're going to take it over to the drill press, and you're going to drill straight through here using a jig we set up to make sure the drill goes nice and 90 degrees perpendicular. Double click on there, edit. We're going to put some holes in there. I'm going to measure them out like you would in the workshop. So I'm going to use a tape measure down here. I I think it's the default button. I'm going to go from the edge here. I'm going to come in here, and I'll move these later if they don't look like where I want them. Let's come in 30 mil there. Let's see what it looks like. Let's come from the back. Maybe in, well, let's come in 30 on both and see what it looks like. Now, I want to cut some holes in there. So I'm going to take the circle instead of a rectangle. This can be a bit fiddly. I'm going to come to the midpoint and I'm going to bring it on there. Now, if it's wandering off, if I'm not very precise, okay, so I can do this. See, you've got the red line going to the midpoint, and that's where I want to drill in the midpoint. I don't want to be just anywhere on this line. If I want to keep it along that position, that axis, I can hold down Shift on my keyboard, and it won't go. It'll go wherever I want. I could line it up with any of these, or the midpoints up there, or intersections, or endpoints, or wherever I want. I'm going to put on 30, click once, bring it out. Now, if I look down the bottom, it's asking me for the radius, okay? We know we want to use a 7 mil drill bit, so the axle, which is about 6.3 quarter inch, rotates freely. So I'm going to put in half of the 7, which is 3.5. But if it was a complicated number, maybe I could do a formula. Yeah, so, 7 divided by 2. The forward slash being is a divide symbol. If you haven't ever noticed on your keyboard, there's no divide. There's plus, asterisk for times, minus, and the forward slash or the backslash. Forward. Okay. Over here, it's lining up pretty good. Bring it there. I could just type in 3.5. That's not a problem. So I've got 2 holes drawn. You wouldn't draw a circle if you're going to drill a hole too. You would mark the intersection. You know that. Everyone knows that. Okay, push-pull, but instead of, click once, instead of adding to it, I'm going to cut away. Now I could rotate around here and say cut to that face. Or, so I click on that, and I want to cut away. I could just bring my pointer over to that back edge, because I know it's going to be that far, and that's going to drill a hole through. Okay, I got a hole through. I might leave these construction lines here for the time being. They might help me line up the wheels. Okay, so I've got those drilled. At this stage, if I was happy where the wheels were, I mean, I've drawn them on CAD first, so I can kind of tell. Maybe I want to put another set in there. I know some of you guys want to do 6. I'm going to take the circle again. I'm not going into edit. I'm going to draw the wheels on here. So let's have a look if I can line it up. Now, if it's going like this, see the circle is locking up to all those faces. I'll show you that later. Don't worry too much about that. I want to keep it on the green. Maybe it's on the red for you, on the green for me. So I'm going to hold down Shift and keep that circle aligned there, okay? So it won't go into that face. It'll stay on here. And if I bring it over here, sometimes SketchUp can be a little hard to get centered on a circle. And click once, bring it in here. Depending on what I've decided to do my wheels, I would say you're going to do maybe 19 mil radius, which will be 38 mil wheel. We should have that hole saw in there. Hit enter. Now, if you don't want your wheels to look like this, SketchUp goes really quick, and it doesn't really draw a true circle. It draws sort of polygon with lots of straight lines. It's how it works really quick. If you want to make that smoother, I think the default is about 2448. I'm going to make it 96, I don't know why, and hit 96S and hit enter, and it'll be a bit smoother. So it's still got flats on there, but it's got 96 of them. Don't judge. That comes in very handy sometimes to have it like that. If I draw it out like here, I've got my wheel, but I want a hole in it. So I could do the hole later, or I could just do it now. I'll do it now. Come here. This hole, I could just do it 7 mil, but it's not really going to be 7 mil. It's really going to be 6. So I'm going to do it 6. Oh, that was diameter. Go back again. It's finding the center easier because I've got a circle there. And it's on the green. I'm going to do it 3 mil. Now let's do, and I've got a face there. So what I might do before I drill it out, I'll take that one and press delete. Now I'm going to take push-pull, hit once, bring it out, and I would assume you want to cut that out of 19mm timber. Oh, it looks a bit thick, doesn't it? So let's make it out of, I'll take 6mm off. Do it out of 12mm. Does it look too small? I think it looks too small. So this is why we do the CAD work, okay? That's why we draw it up. So 38mm is too small for this job. I'm going to delete that. Let's make it bigger. Okay, circle. Now, it is probably going to stick to my 96 sides. No, it doesn't look like it. Let's go one size up and make it. It'll be 52, but we'll just type in. Do we want to do it? We'll do 26 radius, okay. And I'll do that again, 96S. That looks a bit better. And I'll do this in here, 3. Oh. And I'll get rid of that face now instead of doing it later. Okay, so you can see we've got the 7mm hole in the chassis, and we've got a 6mm hole in the wheel. You don't have a choice in the wheel because click once, bring it out. Let's have a look at that in 19mm. It still looks pretty fat. I'm going to make mine out of 12. So I'm going to come in here. The difference between 19 and 12, 7mm, 6 or 7 will do you. And make that out of 12mm timber. So I've got a wheel. Let's drag a box around it. Right click on it, make component, and call it a wheel. While we're there, let's do, we should do the axle, maybe. Okay, so I'm going to come here. You've got a bit of 6mm dowel along here. I'm going to hold down shift, find the center of that. So just move around slowly up, clicked in, click once. I'm going to make it 3, and I'm going to click on that face, and see it bring out there. I'm going to bring it to here. In fact, I might bring that out, maybe an extra 1mm. That looks pretty cool. Okay, so I know that is, what was it, 19 minus, I think I did 7, which should be 12. So that should be out a mil, should be 13. So I'm going to bring that one out, 13. So it was relative. Did you see what I did there? That face is aligned with that. And click once, bring it out, type in 13. Remember, if I'm going fast, which I'm deliberately going fast because I don't want this video to go for ages and for you to be put off, I want you to pause it at any time, rewind. You may need to rewind to 2 or 3 steps, okay? There's no harm in that. You're learning. That's an object or component. They're all components. I'm going to make this a component by triple clicking on it. It's all blue, I can see over there. Right click and make component. Now I always spell the word axle wrong. I don't know why I do that. So I think I always do it in the name. Axle. It'll do. I know what it is. Don't know why I get that one mixed up. Okay, I'm going to take that wheel. I'm going to move it out along the green. See how well you go. And I'm going to give it a little space in between. You don't want it to rub on there, push or whatever. That's why I gave it the extra mil. I'm going to take shift and pick both of them. So they're both blue. And I'm going to move them. But I left that construction line here. I'm going to use that as a reference line because it's hard to line things up to a curve, okay? So I'm going to use that. I picked the construction line. They're both picked construction line. I'm going to hold down, I'm going to press Control, so I duplicate them. Hold down Shift. My keyboard's a bit funky today. And I'm going to move it over here to the other construction line. It's quite long, this one. I normally do them 250, but I'll add a second set of wheels. Then I'm going to take that one, by holding down Shift. I'm going to move them. And I'm going to move them I could use that construction line and do some math and stuff, but I'm just going to take them by what do I want to line up? I want to line that up with that. Okay, so this face here, click on it, bring it along, press Control, hold down Shift so it stays on whatever axis you're on, and then try to find the end of that dowel. Okay, so I've got it lined up. So there is my truck. Now I could do this. I could take those two wheels and I could use this line and find out where I want them. Maybe I want them in about there, maybe. So I'm looking down the bottom and that says 35 mil. Yeah, I think that is going to be better for the truck I'm doing. So I want to move this hole. Remember, I'm doing the design now, so I don't get in the workshop, drill the hole and go, oh, that's not where I wanted it. So I'm going to double click on this. I'm going to just move the hole. I'm going to take left click all the way around just the hole. Not like that. I don't want that back end picked. Double click, go into edit. Click, double click. I'm in edit. Nothing's blue at the moment. I'm going to drag a box from the left and I can visualize where the other side of the hole is. Okay, so now if I go around, I've got the hole selected. I'm going to take this construction line, move it along, and I moved it 35 mil. So you've got to have a good memory for using this software. It's not like Onshape. It's different. It's just for quick modeling. So I know that one's going to be 30 plus 35, 65 mil in. This one looks pretty good. If I want to put a rhubarb or a bull bar or something on it, I've got plenty of room. The wheels aren't coming off it, so I like that. I'm happy with that. I'm going to maybe, you can see the construction lines are part of that object, so I'm going to double click. I'll take both those construction lines, get rid of them. And there is my truck design. Okay, your job is to modify that, make it your own design. There are some students in class doing little boxes at the back. There are all sorts of things. I'm going to save that one. File, save as. Okay, so I can give it a name. Yeah. It tells me I've got things that I've deleted and stuff because it keeps those. Don't worry too much about that. They're kind of in there. There's components I've made and things that are kind of in memory. But I'm going to purge them. I don't want them. So it's going to be a clean model. You'll probably just have one folder. I don't know which one I use. I don't know why I have two. I'm going to go to SketchUp. I think I have stuff in both folders, and that's why it gets hard to find things sometimes. I'm going to call it toy truck. In case I've drawn it before. I've got caps lock on. Cool. 2022. Save. Okay, now I want to show you what you can do with design. I'm going to show you ones that I've designed with students before. Okay, that's saved. Tells me it's saved there. I'm going to come over here. What I'll do is I'll go new. Get rid of old matey. And because I made a metric, I know it's in millimeters. I'm going to come along here. We haven't used any of these toolbars. You might have clicked around in views. There's a lot of really cool things we can do, a lot more than what we just did, but you're starting. That looks like 3D Warehouse. I'm going to go here and look for a model. I collected a bunch of kids' models before. Timber toy truck. Let's see if I can find. Come here to models. Yep, there's one by me, Mr. Sully. There's other ones there too. I'm going to click download. Now, anyone can go to the warehouse and grab models and stuff like that and go, look what I made, look what I made. But I want you to be able to make things, not just consume. Okay? This should be a bit of an inspiration for you. Now, my alarm went off if you heard that. Okay. So here's a sample of jobs students have done in the years before. I've grabbed their models as they did them. They are textured, like I grabbed a pine texture, like an image, and put it on the timber to make them look realistic. So imagine we had a shop and we were selling these. We want to make them stand out. We want people to go, yeah, that looks really good. If I click on them, I download them from 3D Warehouse. They're all sort of in one big group. Okay, if you've done any Photoshop or even what you just did then, you were kind of grouping faces and edges together to make a component. The way we get out of that is going to right click and go explode. Okay, now everything is in its own little group, okay, and if we want to break it apart, we have to right click and explode, and then it probably is in little groups. Let's have a look. There's the basic truck. Looks pretty similar to what we just drew up. It's a bit thicker up there, stuff like that. It's up to you to kind of play around. That's a real old project out of an old exercise book that we had many years ago that we don't use anymore, and the concept hasn't changed. Okay, we've got a tip truck here. I don't know my trucks that well. 2 holes drilled in this part, and I think that was for a rubber band, and the little groove down here, the rubber band would go around there, so the dowel would be glued on and hold everything in position, and when you push down here, it'd flip up. I'm going to right click on that and explode that, and let's see if we can have a look, do a little test. You can see we've got a bevel up there, so they've glued a bit of 19mm on here. That and that, let's keep them together. So I'm going to hold down shift and go make group, and let's have a look what it looks like when I rotate it. I'm going to rotate it obviously around the center there, so let's come here and change move to rotate. Come in here, let's see if we can find a center there. I think that's, if I come down here and it shows it, I'm going to hold down shift, there we go, along here, and I'll zoom out. You can see how it would tip it like that. Okay, you can kind of work out what it's going to look like. This one over here looks like it's got a dowel pin in it. I'd say I'm going to explode that. That there looks like it's just there to lock it in. I'll say that'll come down. There's another dowel there that's flush. We've got rounded edge here. We've got a little bit of a space there so it doesn't rub on anything. And take that piece of timber there. Imagine I pull this dowel out, so it would look like that dowel would, I don't want to rotate, I want to pull it out. So you'd pull that dowel out, it's like a locking pin into there. Quite a little bit complex, a little bit more complex. It's a box here. Let's take select that part of the timber, and I can make this all animated and everything. I can do all sorts of cool things if you're interested in that. Now I have to get the intersection of that. So come over the edge, it highlights that. I'm going to hold down shift. There we go. I'll go straight up here. Oh, because I'm on an angle. That might be a little hard to kind of work out. Let's have a look. See if I can do it again. Get it on there. Hold down shift. Up there. There we go. That's a bit better. So you can see that coming down like that. I don't know what you could put all sorts of things in there. You could leave the top off. So maybe in your design you could have the top off there, and it could be a truck like that. You put your pencils in there, stuff like that. Could be for someone else. That's just a big truck. I think that would have trouble. Oh, it looks like it's locked in. It'd be cool if that had a pivot in it, but it obviously wouldn't turn with those wheels, okay? So that'd be cool if that was built up a little bit and it had a dowel pin in there and could turn left or right, I reckon. These two don't look like they've got anything that moves on them. They're just not so much functional changes, but aesthetic, sort of the look of it. I like this bull bar, and these little toolbox steps look pretty cool. Some dowel done as little exhaust. This looks very cool. I think that was one of the ones that had a really good. I had a really good student who did one like this. He knew his trucks. Okay, so we got, I don't know what they're. I said I'm not a truck person. Fuel or something like that. Barrels are there. Who knows what that is? Do some research into trucks. But I know I've seen them look like that before. We've got the 6 wheels there. We've got a shorter chassis by the looks of it. I like these wheel arches there. I think they'd be quite hard to do for you guys. You'd have to kind of get a bigger hole saw, drill it out of a big bit of timber, then cut down. So as we do the design, we're thinking of how we put it together. That's the main thing we're doing. It doesn't matter whether it's a chair, a coffee table, a house, a toy, it doesn't matter what you're building. You want to think about, as you're doing it, how you're putting it together. Anyone can draw the craziest design, but we're getting to the stage where we need to plan it out and think about construction as well as the design. You could just find a picture of a truck and say, I want to make this. Out of the materials we're using, you will have to modify, you have to change it. Okay? Like the passive speaker, like everything. This is where we want to get to, and SketchUp is really fast for doing this, and all these parts, you can replicate them, you can do more than one design. So if you're doing your design for your truck, have a think about it. The best thing to do is to do a little research. Look at trucks, look at existing things. I had a student a few years ago that wanted to do the truck out of Mad Max. Not a problem. You've just got to get the references, and you've got to make modifications with consideration of the material you're using. And we're using radiata pine. We generally use the 19 mil because it doesn't warp or bow or buckle as much as the 12 mil. We do have 12 mil. We can dress things down on the thicknesser to whatever you want. You might want to do some, bring some 12 mil down to 6 mil. I know I'm using a lot of numbers, but not big ones. And not many fractions or anything like that. So, okay. Take your original design, this one. Find something you want to do, maybe make it into a forklift. And then look at reference image, look at forklifts, look at how they go. Think about the material we're using. Like this bull bar over here, we've got plenty of dowel. I can cut you some timber. Looks like it's about 12 mil by 12 mil or 10 mil by 10 mil. 12 by 12 would be better, because then you don't get quite as thin here, obviously. Try to be consistent. And good luck with your design. This is not the only video on SketchUp. There are millions of videos. You may want to get online and have a look at a text document. It doesn't matter. It's up to you now. You've got to take some ownership of your learning, and you are learning about design and technology and how to design a product from scratch to completion. Okay? Think about in 10 years' time when you're not making things for yourself. At the moment, you're making something for yourself. You can please yourself and go, that's what I wanted. But think about real life when someone is telling you they want to design a toy vehicle, a kitchen bench, a pergola, a sandpit, whatever. Doesn't have to be in timber, by the way. It could be make a birthday cake. You've got to do the thinking, the research, and the putting it all together, okay? So that's what we're doing. Okay, good luck with it. Watch a video a couple of times. If you didn't get it the first time, if I go really fast, which I said in the beginning, I intended to go really fast. It's a video. Slow it down, rewind it, turn off the sound if I'm annoying you, which I probably am. I don't have a very good voice. Find another video. Go to YouTube. SketchUp. Draw a car. But remember to consider what equipment we have, what material we have, what you are capable of. Okay, good luck. I'm not going to make any edits. I'm just going to upload this to YouTube and share it with you. Catch you later.